All right, let's jump to Anita in Texas. Anita, what's on your mind?
Hi, Jason.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I just wanted to say I'm kind of new to this whole thing. My brother has been talking about it for years and showing us tapes and everything, and just this past, and I thought it was crazy. You know, like a lot of people now that I'm saying it to thinks I'm crazy. But just this past year, I've read the Bible for a year. I've read the Bible through, and that related to this makes me see it. So I was just wondering, have you ever read the Bible through?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Like, actually, I don't talk about it a lot, but I grew up Christian, and I would be in church with my mom on every weekend, and then my parents split up, and I actually, on the weekends, my dad ended up dating this pastor's daughter. So on the weekends, I would stay in a church, and I would have to go to both Sunday school and sit in the front row of church every weekend. So I grew up Christian. And I even did the retreats and everything else, and I think it's a great religion. However, I think that a lot of people, just accept verbatim what their preachers say. They treat it kind of cult-like at times, and then on top of that, they're very hypocritical. And really what really turned me off about just the whole religion thing in general is that the absolute air of we're correct no matter what. And I think to myself, well, I don't think every Hindu is burning in hell. I don't think every Muslim is burning in hell, especially people like Gandhi and whatnot. And, I don't come down on people for being religious. In fact, probably the book that I read the most times, and I read it quite a few times as a kid and quite a few times as an adult, is obviously Revelations. I find it fascinating. I think that it's incredibly relevant to these times, but at the same time, I have to look at it in perspective and say, this was written so many thousands of years ago. It gets, in my opinion, a lot of things wrong when I talk about it, amalgamating, pagan dates into the religion, Easter, even as the, rebirth of Christ. It has a lot of similarities to the rise and the fall of the sun in the, I believe it's the summer solstice, sun worship and that sort of thing. And then you look at the dates, and even, again, at Easter, you look at the idea of painted eggs and the Easter bunny, and that also comes from paganism. So, I often, I think Tex Mars and his work is great. I just see where people get turned off, but I can see where you would be turned on if you do go to church every day. Alex Jones and his material is great. Bringing up the religious aspects is really good to reach out to people. I just don't, to get to my generation, I think that you kind of have to go outside that, but let people know to check into it as well. I thank you for the call, Anita. I think religion overall can be a very good thing, but I see a lot of people still thinking the Bush family are Christians, and that's just not the way it is. We'll be back after this. And we are back. It's the Info Warrior with Jason Bermas. And, finishing up on that last caller before we go to Joanne, Mark, James, and others. One of the ways I do reach out to people that I can just tell off the bat are Christians or religious, because, for instance, I was out in California last year and we were doing this Boston Tea Party thing. Every time I say I was in this state or that state, who's just like, you've been everywhere. Anyway, I'm in California. We're in San Francisco, actually. And we're going by the bay, and we're about to do this, Boston Tea Party type thing. And this couple walks up to me, and they start talking about, who the Christian candidate is for the Republican Party. And I said to them, I go, so you guys are Christians? Yeah, absolutely. And, this is when they were trying to push Huckabee. The huckster. Oh, Huckabee, I think Huckabee wants to do good things. I go, Ron Paul is the real Christian. He's the real deal. I'm like, he's a practicing Christian. He actually believes in those morals. He has a family. He's never cheated on his wife. He's a doctor. He does charity work. He's against the Federal Reserve banking system. He's for liberty. He's for the Constitution. But I kept going on and on and on. And then I asked them, I said, well, do you really think that George Bush is a Christian? And this is how I bring religion into it. And they say, well, I think that he's made some bad decisions, but he really does think that he's doing God's work. And then I explained to them about the Bohemian Grove, and they're like, well, I think I'd know about that. And I said, oh, would you? And I start talking about Moloch, and they're familiar with Moloch and what Moloch is. Oh, wait, you mean the Canaanite deity that they'd sacrifice children to? I'm like, yes, the Canaanite deity that they sacrifice children to, correct. And I tell them about the ritual, cremation of care, where they can find it. All of a sudden, I have really got their attention. And we talked for a long time. So, that can always be a positive avenue for me. And I suggest to Anita, who's telling me that she's telling her friends this stuff, and they're laughing at her. Well, if your friends are religious, that's a good aspect to get into. Show them the pictures of the Bush family speaking at Cremation to Care, posted in their own annals. Show them the ritual of the cremation to care. I mean, it's. Let's go to Phil in Texas. Phil, what's on your mind?
How you doing, Jason?
Good, man.
You're doing a good job. Keep it up. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, man.
Okay, I've got a dilemma here.
Okay.
Between you and Alex.
All right.
I have a big announcement. If I can prove to you or to somebody that Barack is the Antichrist.
Well, here's the deal, man.
Who should I give that information to, you or Alex?
I would say you'd want to give it to Aaron at InfoWars.com or try to give it to Alex, because I'm not even, convinced that an Antichrist does exist, man. I mean, maybe. Okay. Or what is it? Is it an allegory for something? Is it just an evil person? Are there many antichrists? Is this the guy who's supposed to bring in global order? Be the one world dictator? Listen, I think that this guy is the front man for the North American Union and the collapse of the dollar, and to bring in the next phase of whatever financial control they want. I do not know if he is the Antichrist. I know I had a caller, I think, last week saying, according to astrology, this guy was the Antichrist. Who knows? Okay, I don't even know if it exists. You know what I'm saying, Phil?
Okay, are you familiar with the Bible, Revelation chapter 13?
I'm not sure about chapter 13, but I've read, obviously, all the Revelations, and I know that, the beast is, what is it? He comes out of the dragon's mouth or whatever after the dragon is slain? Is that the deal? I know. Yeah, go ahead.
If you go ahead and read Revelation chapter 13, I'm not a Bible scholar, but it says that who has the wisdom to figure this puzzle out, count the number of the beast, because the number of the man equals 666, something like that.
Yeah, no, and then that in the following verse it says that no man will be able to buy, sell, or trade without that mark. And then it says, I believe it starts talking about how the elite really control things behind the scene and pose as Christians and are not. I mean, it's an interesting read. I'll give you that, Phil. I thank you for the call. But I just can't get down, guys. I'm sorry. First of all, there's all these people that have made, the world is going to end in 2000, or the Antichrist will come in 2000, or the Y2K thing was going to happen, or, I just don't make predictions like that. I make predictions that I can base on, mainstream news reports, trends. In fact, speaking of trends, we're going to have Gerald Celente on tomorrow night, which is very exciting going into the weekend. And Gerald Celente, obviously, in the Obama deception, if anybody's seen it, we're getting a lot of calls. If you didn't know, if you're somehow in the dark over at PrisonPlanet.tv and GCN Live, the Obama Deception is out there. You can get it in super high quality right now at PrisonPlanet.tv for only $6 a month.